the whole world uses the US dollar as a reserve currency. Any time that the US government releases their bonds, every country will buy US dollars as reserve currency because it is the only security. America has never gone out to the world and says, please buy my debt, please buy my bonds. It's always sold out. There is a reason, because any countries that hold US dollars provide financial security and financial stability. So next. Earlier I mentioned America has about 9 trillion. These are just some of the acts has been passed during COVID. I hear when I came to Singapore this round, many of Singaporean companies said how tough it has been the last 2 years. When you lay off staff, you still have to pay them. My company during COVID received 950,000 US from the US government 3 days after I submit a form of multiple choice. Just tick all the correct boxes, and the US government released 950,000 rescue. All the stuff that were not critical, I laid them off. They were on US government payroll. So how it works? So they all claim unemployment. In a normal period when there's no COVID, unemployment, when you get laid off, means you get 70% of your original value of your gross salary. So let's say you make $2,000 US that particular month, and then you get laid off. So you will get $1,400 that particular month as unemployment, up to 99 weeks in America. That's why people don't save money over there, because if you get laid off, you can claim unemployment for 99 weeks. So during COVID, the government needed to stimulate the economy. So each worker that will lay off gets an additional. So you get $1,400 and you get an additional $2,400 to help you tie through your difficult period. That's why suddenly nobody wants to work. Everybody was on vacation during the COVID, and America really did not experience any recession the last 2 years. And right now, nobody can get workers because suddenly there is so much money. The $9 trillion is not that. It's actually an investment into the economy to prevent the whole country from collapsing. So that $9 trillion have also helped countries, foreign countries, recover from their recession. So it's interesting. Every state in America right now has a surplus, a tax surplus. They're not running a deficit anymore. Even though the US government is running a big deficit, in the next 5 years, it will show a surplus, and the budget deficit will likely be wiped out because of the $9 trillion stimulus. That's a record stimulus, and the whole world is going to be saved with this $9 trillion. Let's go to the next. The US dollars will eclipse the world, or will be replaced by a foreign currency. You know, China has been trying very hard to make the yuan, the renminbi, significant. But 72% of the world is still using the US dollar, followed by the euro. China's currency is only about 2% of the world's GDP, even though they try so hard. America don't have to try. They're still right. That's why when we joke about them printing money and nobody wants, yeah, we always hear they print money. Who doesn't want US dollars? Okay. Let's go to the next page. If the two American stock market, NASDAQ, and the New York Stock Exchange were a country, it is worth 40. It is worth, actually it's not 30 trillion, it's worth about 45 trillion. This data is wrong. You know, if it was a country, it's 45 trillion. That's bigger than the American economy. Okay, so that gives you an idea how big the stock market is in America. Next, please. Okay, let's put it into perspective. The bottom is the 5 largest American companies. Combined, depending at what level of the trade on that particular day, it averages about 9 trillion. Right? The world's biggest company is Apple. It was at about 3 trillion. It drops out suddenly. Let's use 3 trillion as an example. At 3 trillion, Apple is bigger than India, bigger than the United Kingdom, bigger than France, bigger than Italy, bigger than Canada and South Korea. If it was a country, Singapore is about 350 billion. Apple is about 9 times the size of Singapore. Okay, so if you combine the top 5 companies in America, which is Tesla, blah, 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 is worth about 9 trillion. That means it's the 3rd largest country in the world after China and the US. Only 5 stock exchanges. So people don't understand, don't realize how big the American market is. I'm trying to put into perspective why we need to go to America. Next page, please. So we talk about China being significant. So really, there's several months ago, or you've been hearing that the American stock market is kicking the Chinese out, asking the Chinese to leave China Mobile, all the big companies because of audit problem. Has it affected America? Only 2% of the stock market, the Chinese have listed companies on the American stock exchange. The exposure is only 2%. When people talk about America is reliant on China trade. No, it's not. It's only 2% affecting the American GDP. So China is not significant in the US market. Next. They say about China having economic power. I deal with a lot of Chinese in America. All of them still wants to export despite the high tariffs because there's no alternative market for Chinese export. Right? Why? So a Chinese businessman who is a tycoon that is working closely with me later on, I'm going to talk a little about his business. He mentioned that the majority of the Chinese don't have money, which is true. So I went and did some research. Like 600 million people make less than $150 a month in China. That's a significant number of people, 600 million. So they, therefore, if you make $170 a month, how can you pay bills? How can you have a domestic market? Whereas the US market for GNP is about 63,000. That's why purchasing power in America is so big. More later on this slide, I'm going to come back and explain the significance of American purchasing power. Next, please. US is dependent on trade. With China, it is not. In 2019, 2 years ago, COVID, I was in Singapore several times. During that time, it was the battle began to destroy Huawei. Many of my friends here say it will never happen. 2 years later, where is Huawei? It is a superpower. They don't have to do anything. It is a superpower that sometimes does a lot of stupid things. And when America makes mistakes, the rest of the world suffers. Put into perspective, Afghanistan. Everyone, all the newspaper in the world says that the withdrawal of American forces out from Afghanistan was a fiasco. Let's put it in a different manner from the perspective of the Americans. How come nobody is trying to beat down the Russian embassy and the Chinese embassy in Afghanistan and says, I want to go to your country? America pulled out, they say goodbye to everybody, left a lot of money behind. America pumps $75 million a day into Afghanistan. After 20 years, they decided to leave because corruption is rampant. The Afghan people has no willingness to have a proper government because of corruption. So they left. But everybody wanted to follow, hung on to the aircraft and so forth and so forth. So I want to put into perspective that if it's such a fuck-up country, how come everybody wants to get in? Last year, 2 million people crossed the Mexican-US border. How can you have a solution when everybody wants to go to America? You know, another thing is if you're an Indian national and you happen to have what we call an H1 visa, and you're lucky enough to get the equivalent of our S-Pass here. An Indian national has to wait 82 years for his permanent resident green card right now because of supply and demand. Let's go to the next one. Then I hear it very often. Wow, American taxes are high. Yeah, American taxes are high, but at the same time, my son attended law school at Harvard Law School. So he took American taxation. He got out of class last semester. First person he called was me. He says, I've always I didn't know how to explain about why Amazon don't pay any taxes. Amazon does not pay $1 tax, and Apple pays almost nothing. Later I'm going to show. So American tax law, according to American tax lawyers, means there is a law, that it is transparent. Every time the US government comes out with a new law about taxing rich people, the lawyers will come out a loophole. That's American taxation. American lawyer says American taxation is designed for you not to pay taxes. Okay? So let's go to the next one. These are the companies that don't pay taxes or get tax refund. Okay, so it lists out, it says there 55 of the largest corporations in America pay zero federal tax. Next. America is broken into the following regions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, into 7 regions. So the next few slides, I'm going to explain what region we're going to focus on because it is such a big market. We got to pick a landing point or a beachhead into America. This gives you an idea where all the concentration of population are. Is majority on the East Coast. The West Coast is concentrated, but it's very, very expensive, like California. Next, please. Greenville, Pennsylvania, that's where I live. It is a town that is founded 1812, has about 15,000 people that lives in the town. So I often hear my friends say, oh, you live in a small town, 15,000 people, there is no market. In my town has a Walmart that opens 24 hours. Each day on average with 15,000 people, the sales at Walmart is 350,000 on average. My town is located in Mercer County. Mercer County is 5 times the size of Singapore, with only 220,000 in Mercer County, 220,000 people. There is a pharmacist in my town with 12 outlets. That 12 outlets, in fact, this pharmacist, I'm going to bring it to Singapore to list it on the stock exchange here in Singapore. 12 outlets, this pharmacist does 33 million a year with net 25%. If you are familiar with John Deere, the tractor company, there is a dealership in my town, 1 outlet, $27 million a year. Make an average net profit of about 4 million. So why? Because population size don't matter, is the GNP, the per capita spending power in America. Okay, to put it into another perspective, if you start a company, the first 510,000 profit, you don't have to pay taxes if you buy things. So the government allows you to buy boats, motorcycle, tractors, things not even related to the business to help stimulate the economy. So the American taxation is very liberal, it's very generous. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is something about, I have this division is my professional service division. When companies want to come to America, I have my own CPA firms. I have my own professional services firms that provide marketing support, digital support, and anything necessary. So if a company wants to come to America, all you guys have to do is just bring your bag in. All the supporting services will be available. Plus, my accountants all understand how the Asian mindset works. So we will help you how to adapt into the American economy. Market. Let's go to the next one. Let's go. So I arrived in America 17 years ago. Around that time, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, most businesses were looking either at the region. In fact, we were not even looking at the region. Most of us were looking at China, right? A lot of my friends came back from China, all got burned, especially when COVID happened. I was the only guy that went to America 17 years ago. The first 5 years was tough, like just like all markets where we go, there's no such thing as easy money. So I went to America, first 5 years was very difficult. Then breakthrough started coming, and within 11 years, I was able to build a decent sized business, which I'm going to explain more later. Let's go to it. So this is my family. I went to America partly was because after 97, when the Asian crisis happened, I lost a lot of money. Most businesses lost a lot of money. And it was very difficult to recover after that because the market was stagnant and basically the whole Asian market ran out of money. Also, my children did not do well because most of us work very hard. We work 24 hours, right? All businesses work very hard. So my youngest son on the far left, Alex, was last in school. Literally last in school, primary 1 to primary 3, last in the whole school. By primary 4, he's going to vocational school. So my wife and I decided, I think it's time for us to try a new place. So it requires a lot of mindset change, a lot of guts. We moved to America. Today, that son, he, after graduation from our equivalent of A levels, he joined the US Army. He became, went to the infantry unit. The government pays for his education. He got his degree in multimedia. And then he worked 2 years ago when after graduation for National Geographic. And now, last month, he got selected into the Walt Disney program. His boss are Lucasfilms and all the big US subsidiaries that is owned by Disney World. 30,000 people applied for the management program. Only 8 got selected. He was number 1. Now he's working on a new program that is about to be launched because his thesis for this management track was about Asian Americans trying to adapt in the American economy. They're making a new program called American Born Chinese, and he's the only Asian on the planning team with all the top executives. This isn't about bragging. This is about opportunity for the number 2 and the number 3, where we don't have a chance here in Singapore. Then my daughter, she is an equivalent of what we call a sarong party girl, always partying in school. So she went to nursing school, didn't really try very hard. Now she's a nurse. She works 3 days, 12-hour shift, rest 4 days, makes $7,000 a week, $28,000 a month. My son on the far right is at Harvard Law School. Well, he completed first year. Now he's in his second year. At the end of first year, 9 companies made him a job offer with an average of $325,000 before graduation. This is America. A truck driver with no college degree can make $100,000. If you are a plumber and you have 4 years experience, $150 an hour. That's why nobody wants to do business there. They all join big companies. Opportunities are. If someone is not making money in America, probably he's a bum. Probably he has no ambition. America is what I call the land of plenty. Every day we have buffets. That's why there's so many fat people there. Really, abundance, opportunity is incredible. But you gotta know how to fish. For us who will become immigrants going there to do business. Next. Let's go to the next one. Afterwards, I'm going to show a video. I live on, that's my house there. My house is located on a 30-acre land in Western Pennsylvania. I did some renovation, but the point is 133 acres. That's equivalent to 33 football field in Singapore. I bought it for $140,000, this house. $140,000, we can't even buy an HDB here. I spent $200,000 renovating it. This house is worth about $500,000 today. $500,000 is still, let's not talk about exchange rate. Let's talk about $1 US is equivalent to 1 Singapore dollar. This house is 5,000 square feet with built-in with 33. I don't pay for natural gas. This land here has got oil and has got gas. It comes with it. Every 6 years, I will sell timber that are walnut, cherry, oak on this property. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Okay, later on, I'm going to show you some properties that my business has accumulated. So this was a nursing home that I bought and turned it into a student dorm for my education business. It sits on 5.5 acre and it has got 55 rooms. I bought this property for 1.5 million. Today, this property is worth about 3 million. I just sold it to a Vietnamese group to convert it into a high school. So renovation began 1.5 years ago, and it's going to become a school. Next, please. These are the different businesses I've involved. Professional services. Together with Joseph here, my friend, we're going to start a robotic business, automation. I don't even know how to use a smartphone properly, but the opportunity there. Joseph, before COVID, was I assisted him to enter Georgia to do business in Atlanta with Delta Airways, right? When he got the contract, he didn't know what to do, and we were friends, and I assisted him to enter. I'm also in the education business. I'm starting right now Singapore-style and German-style polytechnics, where international students come to my programs. By the time they graduate, they will have an OJT that leads to a green card or an American PR. I'm also in the certification and licensing business for accreditation for education. Logistics and e-commerce, I assist Asian companies that operate. I have got accounts with FedEx. I've got accounts with all the major logistics company, including the US Postal Service at very, very favorable rates. I'm also, when COVID happened, my education business got affected. I started restaurants. So I'm also working with restaurants here in Singapore to bring them. Now, if you want to go public, and if you're in Singapore, you have 10 restaurants. After you go public, where are you going to get the revenue? So maybe you might think, let's go to Vietnam. Let's go to Thailand. But most of us forget that when we go to Vietnam, Vietnam's economy is 100 million people, but the GDP is smaller than Singapore at 300 billion. Singapore is 350 billion. So you're going to go to a market and you're going to struggle because the purchasing power is weak, but real estate entry cost is high. If you want to go public, you've got to have the American market to scale. Therefore, your stock price, the people who are behind the market makers can scale if you go to the US. Right? So I also have a construction and home improvement company. Right now, I can't get any workers. So I'm going to Thailand to recruit plumbers, electricians, and bricklayers. When they come to America, their salary is going to be about 60,000 to 70,000. I'm offering a new life for people that don't have that opportunity, right? And then with that, I help them to one day, if they reach a certain point and they want to become their own boss, I'll help them start a construction company together with me, 150 miles away from where I live. So we don't compete with each other. So I also own non-profit divisions that at certain areas or of the states where property prices are very high, I use the non-profit division to buy buildings, to renovate, and then rent it out to a commercial division, so I don't have to pay property tax. So basically, my point here is I have figured out almost everything that we need to do business without having to invest an arm and a leg to become prosperous in America. Is there any more? Right? So these are the different companies. The bottom, under schools and education, I market myself as American Baccalaureate and Education Division. A big Vietnamese group on the far right or far left is coming into America that has 11,000 students as a feeder into my program. I hope to list this company on the Singapore Stock Exchange with a Chinese company and an Australian company. Again, while we repackage it, the growth is going to come from the US because I'm only located in one particular region in Pennsylvania, and we already can get numbers. Okay, Then on the far left, the green box, it says lifestyle, restaurant, and retail. Retail, right? You want to open store from furniture shops to restaurants to whatever you want to sell. How many stores can you have in Singapore? In America, the sky is the limit. And then, so these are all just the different services. And most important, with the light blue box, is my professional service division. So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not an accountant. I take risks. So I have a proper professional division that will help you if you need to raise money, if you need to get banks, or when you arrive in America, how do you create a credit score? How do you create credit history? So these are things that if you don't have the background, you don't understand. You know, when I say this, you all definitely don't understand what I'm saying until you get there. So I will help you all immerse in the US market. Next, please. So these are the services that American attackers offer. If you see, we offer digital marketing, Marcom. My entire production team is based in Ho Chi Minh City. I have 3 graphics people, and then I take accounts. I help American companies do their marketing and so forth. I have a M-Cross. You see the light blue circle. It's called M-Cross. I have an HR division. So in America, Americans are very expensive right now. So I help people cut costs by bringing in foreign staff, international students who are graduating under the OJT program. You know, they come here, they pay me a fees, I help them find a job that leads to an American green card. Towards citizenship. I have Gateway America, that Green Arch is an immigration arm for people who's, I may be a professional here, say in Singapore or Thailand, and my children are not doing well. I need to go to America. So I've customized programs for people. And then I have another division called Trinity Gateway on the first row. That's my business development unit. Every business that comes to America is unique. So I have a group of people to customize business, to help you find a way to parachute yourself with the least amount of risk entering the US. So these are all the different special services headed by an American CPA. Next, please. Let's go to the next one. So this is my team. The president in charge of this is a health science guy in charge of the equivalent of our Singapore-style polyclinic, revenue 300 million. So he retired, he came and joined me to help develop a group of health science businesses I'm helping to bring from Singapore to America with the possibility of listing on the SGX. Then I've got different people here, and my corporate strategy guy is an ex-anthropology professor that has followed me and writes beautiful business plan so the banks can lend us money. Next, please. I have altogether about 45 people working for me. And in America, when you have more than 20 people, it's quite a significant operations dealing with about 40% of my staff are Asians. So we need that international support staff because life in America is good. So people by 4:45 each day, they clock out 15 minutes before closing time at 5 o'clock. In my office, there are all the Asian staff that are working till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you know? So we need, if you want to invest in America, we better get a team of Asians to go over there to support services. So next, please. Okay, I think that's about it. So businesses that goes engineering, high tech, you know, manufacturing is not the way, depending what you're doing. So automation, because labor cost is high, therefore we have to think carefully what kind of businesses we can bring into the US. Let's go next. Next. Okay. This is an interesting map. Earlier, I showed the 7 regions of the US. We use 500 miles as a gauge and a way to measure. 500 miles is equivalent, 1 mile is about 1.7 kilometers. That is about a day's drive. We use the trucking companies, the freight companies that move containers. So that's basically the average time that you travel from one point to the other point using 500 miles radius. So that's 1 day's drive. 1 day's drive is 50%. That circle is 50% of the North American population. It goes right into Toronto. From where I live, Greenville, Pennsylvania, is 3 hours drive into Toronto. That's a FTA zone, so is Mexico. So it gives you an idea. 170 million people live in that circle with a per GNP, gross national product of 64,000. Let's go to the next. Then I created a light yellow circle. That's further out a little bit more, perhaps by another 150 miles to 200. I highlighted a major city. Okay, where I live, Greenville, Pennsylvania, is between two major cities. Chicago, 6 hours west. New York City, 6 hours east. It gives you an idea. I am only 3.5 hours away from a major automobile city, Detroit. That gives you an idea. Going to and staying in America, transportation is very important. I drive a S580. It costs $97,000. The S580 is a four-wheel drive for snow. In America, there are only two types of Mercedes. We don't have 280, we don't have 320. Right? 580 is four-wheel drive for snow. 600 is for speed and for power. My road tax, I pay $37 a year. I have a license plate that says DHVW, no numbers, just my name, DHVW. My license plate is $20. That's how cheap America is. So in America, you don't buy a car that belongs to the company. You buy it under your name because of the driving that you need. So the IRS allow you to deduct 62 cents per mile. So if you drive 20,000 miles, it's almost $10,000 in tax credit you can take off your income tax. I've just given you one simple example why people don't pay tax in America. Okay. Next. 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 Okay, that ends my presentation. Do we have any questions before I go to the second part?
Maybe for those from IES, we are exploring how we can, IES-INCA can help IES members. IES-INCA is to go to America through IES as the INCA as a platform, and how we establish in USA still need to be discussed. And David has a proposal.
Okay. I would like to propose you all visit. Andy and I are planning a 7 days tour. You need to come and see for yourself the opportunity. Just only in our area. We're just going to focus during this tour at the end of April, Sunday to Sunday tour. We're only going to focus Erie, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Just a triangle of 18 miles. You see the opportunities. You see how big the market is. We are going to invite senators, congressmen, Republicans, Democrats, bankers. In fact, together, I'm trying to start my own bank. So when foreigners come, you know, to start a small bank in America, the capital require only $5 million. You can start a bank with $1 billion assets. What I'm trying to say is, in America, the government don't come and kacau you and say you cannot do anything. There is, as long as there is no rule for you to, there's no rule and it's not written, that means you can do. That is America. That's why there's only U-turn signs that says don't U-turn in America. If there's no sign, you U-turn and do whatever you want.
Okay. So the plan at the moment is to set up something like
yes.
Can reach over.
Yes.
And
I will be sending out a catalog. to say what type of companies we're visiting, right? From robotics company. Huh? Okay, yeah, you can. If you have it, why don't you show?
Then on this visit is open to everybody. Probably we can take 5 to 10 at one go. The estimated cost we haven't pinned down, but I think it's around 5K. 5K,
Okay.
Sing dollars.
Okay.
What else you want?
I had some catalogs about my different businesses. Let's show. Okay, let's show the capital.
Maybe pause about if there's any questions before we go on to the rest. Because we talked for quite a long. Anybody has any questions? Either those guys online also.
Yes, I'm Mikey here. I do have a question for David. So David, how can we set up a company in America, and what are the various type of companies that we can set up in America?
In America, basically, there's two types of companies. An S Corp company or a C Corp company. S Corp is designed for American citizen that you only have a one-time tax write-off. That means you declare dividend, you only get taxed one time. That's the privilege for a green card holder or a US citizen. So when you all go there, you have to form what we call a private limited company equivalent. Okay. There should be at least a minimum of 100,000 US dollars in investment before you can apply for employment pass. So Singapore has two types of company. First type is you form a subsidiary that gets at least 50% controlled by the Singapore company. Then you can do what we call an L1 visa. The L1 visa is a multinational transfer visa, and you can transfer staff there. L1A for business owners and for senior managers. L1B is for technical support staff, so in specialized skills. Okay, so that's one way to do this, is paperwork, you have to make preparation. The other type of company is still a C Corp, but you apply for the visa here in Singapore through the US Embassy, called the E2 visa. The E2 visa is designed for US ally countries like Taiwan, Philippines, Thailand, and Singapore. But the E2 visa is only for Singapore citizens if you're an E2 Singapore-based company. That's why you must have a mixture of the L1 company and the E2 in case you have to send a non-Singaporean to America. So to incorporate a company, the average price is about $3,000. It'll take about 3 weeks to be approved. And once you have what we call the EIN number or the incorporation number, you can set up the bank account. Okay, you can appoint any number of directors, but the person that is the treasurer position has to be an American or a green card holder. So because if you decide that you want to pack up and leave, the IRS cannot track you, so they look for that American guy. So that is one treasurer position, or the guy in charge of taxes must be a green card holder. Okay, at the same time, I hear a lot of us say, I don't want a green card. I think if all of us here who are Singaporeans, that for us it's so easy to get a green card in America, don't write this off, because one day we may have to get bank financing, and banks will not lend to a non-citizen. You can get a credit card, but it's very restricted if you're not a citizen. So why not get an American green card? Consider this, and then you have a choice. Because 50 years from now, we are a small country. When I went to Singapore, one of the things that I thought about is 50 years from now, where will Singapore be? No, none of us know. Who would have thought that COVID is going to take over the world and the world shut down for 2 years? Nobody would have thought about that. So we need to have an insurance policy in a big country. So every time I come back to Singapore, we talk about 4G government, because this is very sensitive, right? I think in 50 years' time, we are going to be a country like Denmark. Can you tell me the Prime Minister's name of Denmark? There are no statesmen there. Are we going to have our Lee Kuan Yew? So that's why I say, when we go over there, we have to think differently. You know, at one time when I went there, I still think like a Singaporean. I still think like a Singaporean, but I also think like an American. because there are so many things that Singaporeans really not exposed. We are all smart, but we are not exposed to a new way of seeing things and seeing the world from a big country's perspective, from the perspective of a superpower. Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you, David. Maybe I will go a little more detail with you personally. Yeah, thanks for the overview. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, any one of you want to talk, I will be available here because it requires a lot more information and customization. So I'm just being general.
Yeah, got it.
Yes. You can stay in Singapore together online and so forth. Just for everybody, just in case. The question is, if I am a Singaporean, I set up a company there in America, I'm in the IT business. How should I go about doing this? What about having people? So if you want to set up a company, once you're an American company, you're subjected to US laws right away. So if your IT technology is being sanctioned and the American government say you cannot sell to China, you sell to China, you're going to jail. Okay, number one. Okay, so you have an American company, you do not want to stay there, you want a market, so I suggest you send a product manager to America because my office will be happy to assist you, but my office, our people don't understand your business. My people can make telephone calls, do a preliminary market survey, what type of resources do we need? So you really don't need to be in America, but except for the product manager. I made it so simple. All you have to do is move your bag there. However, having said this, so now you go over there, but you want to, again, the visa process can be very difficult, especially the L1, multinational transfer visa, okay? So once you get it, you are not applying for a green card, then you're not subjected to a minimum stay, okay? So if you decided you want to be a permanent resident, the first 5 years, you must stay for an average of 182 days. But you can write in exempt for 2 years not being present in America. So out of the 5 years, 3 years, you must have an average of 182 days. Okay? So actually, the immigration laws are quite liberal and generous as compared to Australia and Canada. Anyone? Any other questions? There is no minimum. You can start a company with no paid up capital because you want a visa. If you want to send people to America to work under its employment law, then my suggestion is 100,000. However, if your business is building a steel mill and you put 100,000, of course your visa is going to get rejected. American immigration law has no playbook. It is up to the discretion of the immigration officer and it's up to common sense. So the law is based on common sense and is it relevant? So if you say I'm going there to sell kacang puteh and I will do 100,000, you might not be able to get the visa because he doesn't know, the customs officer doesn't know what the hell is a kacang puteh. Yes, but if there's technology, no problem. That's the place to be. Okay. Furthermore, hiring an American IT professional is probably going to be very expensive. So there's this program called the OPT, or what we all call here the OJT. An engineering or an information tech person who is an international student in America can get a job and stay without a work visa for 3 years. It is a technology. You are not required to pay market price. That's the magic trick. And most international students will not find a sponsor because when the American companies hear how difficult it is to apply for a work visa, that is a lottery system. So now you can hire an IT professional, especially Indian, without having to pay market price. That is a big giant loophole. I use that all the time to hire OPTs to substitute and to bring down my cost of operations. Mm. 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 I will help you with the paperwork. If you want to go in and out under S-Star or as Singaporean, you also can apply for a B1 visa, which will allow you to stay up to 6 months. But if you don't have a work visa after the first year, you go in and out of the US. The US customs, when you go there, may not allow you to enter the US. So it's always better to get a work permit or employment pass. Yes, correct. The company becomes the sponsor. That's why the first step is incorporate the company first. I also forgot to mention that the company preferably must pass 1 year. You don't have to have operations because a new company that's less than 1 year has many restrictions. For example, if you get a visa that is an E2 visa from the US Embassy here, the E2 visa is normally 2 years. But if your company is less than 1 year, you only get a 1 year visa. So but doesn't matter, you don't have to have business activities. So if you have got plans to go to the US, incorporate the company now and let it pass the 1 year period. So all your investment you have to do is just $3,000 first. Yes. Okay, well, I tell you what's the reason why I'm running Polytechnic. I'm starting a culinary art school because all my restaurants cannot find workers. So I start a culinary art school that international students come to my school for 9 months. Then I'm going to staple a green card to it. They're going to work for me. I'm going to bond them or they pay me money to get a green card. So I'm going to start a robotics school because there's a shortage of robotics technicians, not engineers. So schools that I do, everything leads to a green card. So together with some Singaporean companies, I'm also exploring drone tech and bringing to the US. Okay, I want to show next for this part of my presentation, I just want to show you projects that I've done for myself and for foreign investors that have come into the US. This project is called the Caprica. It's a combination of 3 buildings that I grouped together to start a theater, Broadway style, restaurants, Michelin star, steakhouse, culinary art school. So it's an edutainment town. I call it the Caprica because when I was younger, I loved to watch Battlestar Galactica, and the planet that those people came from, the city was called the Caprica. So what I'm trying to say here is you can actually dream and do things that cost you very little money. So the far left of the building, that brown building, can you put your hands, the brown building on the left. No, go down, yes. So okay. The brown building, far left. I bought this building. This building is about 24,000 square feet. In America, it's 2-story. It has a basement. So each floor is 12,000 square feet, but we don't count the basement for square footage. It's not allowed when you buy a property. So technically, each floor is 12,000, including the basement. This is a 36,000 square foot building. I bought this building in my town for $25,000. You cannot believe. So I turned it into a restaurant. Later on, I'm going to show you. I turned it into an American restaurant. And the second floor, I cut it up into apartments that I rent out to students at $500 per unit. The basement, I'm converting into a bakery. But right now, I can't convert the bakery because I don't have any more chefs and bakers. So I came to Singapore and Thailand to recruit. Okay, the building next to it, I just sold, okay, by the way, 25,000. So I sold it to a Vietnamese investor for 80,000. He renovated the building for 380,000. And he turned it into a restaurant under my name called Joe and Company. Why? Because he didn't have any idea and he needed a green card. Then his friends hear about it and bought the second building, which is called the William Lear Building, the building next to the first building. So that building, I'm going to convert the second and the third floor into a cosmetology school, hairdressing school, to turn it into a high-end school because there are not enough hairdressers in America. Ground floor, I hope to bring a Michelin star restaurant to America. Then I can brag in between Chicago and New York, 6 hours in between, we will have the first Michelin star restaurant in that radius. Further right, that bridge doesn't exist. The third building that in the glass doesn't exist is a parking lot right now. So the building that is red color was a former post office and a doctor's building. I bought the building for 100,000. I sold it to the Vietnamese. I also, right, the second and the fourth building, I also sold it to different Vietnamese. The red building is going to become a culinary art school, a drone school, and a nursing school. All Vietnamese investment. I only have to come up with the idea, the concept. So there are 3 American passports there. And to qualify, they don't even have to invest a minimum of 500,000 because I package it in such a way they will get the green card and not have that 10 American fulfillment for the green card. So there are many pathways towards citizenship. So I call it the Caprica. I think this is a beautiful project. Construction has begun or renovation has begun. We don't build from scratch in America. We buy old buildings, we repurpose, so we pay the old property tax. Let's go to the next. So here, this is the school, the polytechnics, the culinary art school. You look at all the logos. So let's go to the next catalog. Okay, the next catalog is okay, we can you can, okay, this one gives you an idea of in my area. So in 2012 I started acquiring properties for my education business. This went on until 2016. In a very short period, I accumulated in this catalog the number of property. So I call this Pennsylvania house, 120,000 for this house, landed. It has got 4 bedrooms. Next, please. Another house. This one has 3 bedrooms. I bought it for 25,000. And then I did some renovation, it became 75,000. Although small. What I'm trying to show here is really not the value and the purpose, but how cheap can you live in a nice house? Next.
You sell this house for 75,000.
I sold this house, yeah, I probably sold it for about 100,000 because this catalog was made in 2018. I just took our old one to give perspective. Since then, I think this house is worth a lot more because of COVID, you know, everybody's buying properties, you know. This house, Columbia House, I bought this was my first house. I bought this house for 35,000 because it was going for, right? So you can buy houses from the banks. You just call the bank, and if the bank knows you, they give you inside tip, you can buy houses for nothing, private arrangement. Next, please. This is this house, I got it for about 70,000. So, okay. Next. So, right. So these are all just different houses. If anybody wants this catalog, you can have it. That gives you a general idea of all the different houses. It probably is Chapel Hill. There's a place called Chapel Hill. Okay, this place has got natural gas, has got oil, it has got 7 buildings on it. It is 55 acres, $500,000. $500,000. And look at the scenery. Isn't it like the movies? That's life in America. It's now worth about 1 million. Okay, this is Chapel Hill. Look, this is a dorm. Okay, let's move backwards. This is a dorm that housed students in Ohio. It was a nunnery before. No, next one, next picture. I bought this for about 165,000. It can hold 24 students. No, it can hold 28 students. I put some renovation in at that time was worth, it's being appraised for 550,000 right now. How can even you build this, you know? I go buy old buildings, I renovate them, I never built down there. Okay. Next. I bought this apartment, 24 apartments for 165,000. Repurpose it and turn it into a dorm in Ohio. That's why I say America is cheap, man. Okay, I think that's about it. Let's go to the next. These are all different. Oh, then that was a former nursing home. I bought it for 1.5 million. This is big property. It's now worth 3 million, being bought by the Vietnamese that wanted to turn it into a high school. That's the inside. That's my corporate. This is my corporate office. If you all come to America, this is the place. So I turn it into like a service office. Accountants are in there, office managers are in there, unit support services. This is the place. I bought this building for 250,000. Okay, why? How did I buy this building? Because it was a newspaper building. The guy saw what I was doing. The owner came down and says he wanted to sell me for 800,000. Then I said I cannot afford. He says I'll sell it for 250,000, but promise me don't move your business out of Greenville. And in one of those houses called Weary Houses, why I call it Weary House, it was Judge Weary. When he died, I have never met Judge Weary. Judge Weary gave me his house. A lawyer showed up and says, Judge Weary put in his will to give you this house because I contributed to the local economy. My area is a white area. When my kids went to school the first day, they have never even seen Asian people. The whole class surrounded around them and look at them. There's a lot of appreciation and goodwill that has been created because of my business in this town. So that's why I'm inviting you all to come, and they are always asking, bring your Asian friends here and invest in my town or in our town. Okay? So that's the inside of the building. Back again, please. So that's the inside of the building. It's a 17,000 square foot building. That's my corporate office. Next. So these are just certain buildings that I'm renovating to convert into a high-end restaurant, Michelin stars. That's the original building that became a restaurant. I have since done a lot of work to it. Again, so I have a full construction team. I don't even outsource the construction. So if you are in the construction business, engineering business, you come here, I'll be able to help you enter the US market. I've got tractors, I've got construction equipment. Over the years, I've built myself into an ecosystem. So these are all the inside of the building being renovated. This is the next one, it will become a polytechnic. Okay. This is an, oh wait, back one. I bought this house for 5,000. It was a fire sale. The owner disappeared, so I got it for 5,000. It's still sitting there. I bought it 6 years ago. I don't have time to renovate. So if somebody wants to come here and renovate this house, I'll sell it to you for 10,000. Let me make $5,000. So it has two entrances, one upstairs, one downstairs. This is real, man. Next. I own 2 pieces of land that I bought it at that time, 4 acres. I bought the 2.5 acres land for $7,000. The 4 acre at that time I was still new. I think I overpaid. I paid $50,000 for that piece of property. But I hope to turn this into a construction company where I can park giant tractors, trucks. Okay. Next. This is the land that I own, open, has got oil in it, has got gas. Pennsylvania, everywhere you drill has got natural gas and oil. It has 100 years and 50 years of gas reserve. We are located in what we call the Mashala gas well. It is one of the richest area. So people who are in the plastic injection business should come here because natural gas is so cheap. Right? When Donald Trump became president, America became the #1 exporter of natural gas in the world. There was a reason why, you know, and this is the reason. Okay, next. Okay. How about another catalog? American Instinct. Maybe it's under the Capricorn. You scroll all the way down. Oh, okay. I know it's called American Instinct or Joe and Company. Okay, any other questions while we wait? So I think I've shown how, I will not say how easy. I have given everyone in this presentation a lot to think about. A lot of myths that you used to hear has been busted. The biggest challenge investing in America is Americans. Because in the land of the buffet, people are slow. People are complacent. Nobody has the kanchong spirit. So you go over there, you try to rush everybody, you will probably get your first heart attack because nothing happens. That's why we need to have a big support team there that are Asians. Okay, never mind. I'll just send it out. Maybe I'll send out. One is Joe and Company. It's a restaurant that I started, American restaurant. I would like to package it with Singaporean restaurants and then IPO here because in America, any restaurant brand that has a reasonable amount of business here locally and has reached more than 5 outlets, I encourage you to go to America because now you have 100 outlets. You can have a real estate company build the entire restaurant for you and sign a 25 years lease with no increase. At the end of a certain period, if you want, you can negotiate the building belongs to you. That is how real estate operates. Okay, this is the tour. I'm giving a general idea of the type of companies in my area. Jamestown Coatings Technology is a paint company. I call it the Ferrari of paints. They make very specialized paint located in our area. When you visit, you will look at this. This is a 140-year-old factory with $17 million a year. Started in 1885. And they're very complacent, doing very well. Not interested to have multiple units. Just then where we're located is Amish country. The Amish are probably the equivalent of our Bangla. They do construction work, they do manufacturing. They stop school at 14 years old and they like to do manufacturing and farming jobs. So we have 3,000 of them live in our area. They are the provider of cheap labor. Next. In our area is St. Paul's Home. I supply nurses and nursing assistants to St. Paul's. It's a facility that is 1,000 acres. It's a retirement nursing home, starting minimum price 3,500, all the way up to 15,000 a month or more. Specialized healthcare for the rich. Then Grove City Premium Outlet has 400 factory outlets. In Pennsylvania, you don't pay sales tax when you buy clothing, shoes. Let's go up. This is Greenville, okay, and then Arrow Electric is an electrician company with 150 electricians. They are short of 150 electricians. The electric business, your house has got electrical problem, good luck in America. You call them, nobody's going to show up. At least 3 days. And then if they show up, they'll tell you, you pay $150 for me to look at, then I decide whether I want to do your job. So I encourage all the engineering guys, man, to come. Next. Okay, this company is interesting. They sell this. They make ice cream cones. If you're familiar with this brand, this is the world's largest ice cream cone factory. It's located in my town. It started, this is 4th generation. They came from Lebanon. Everyone in the family is a Harvard grad. They are one of the best paid manufacturing, paying $18 an hour for all workers because they are very appreciative of what the US has done for their family. So this is the Joy Cone Company. Massive, gigantic companies. Next. This company owns 21 factories. One of the factories is located. Everything is made in USA, all the high-end kitchen cabinets. It's a listed company that's located. So next. This is a robotics company that specializes refurbishing robots located in our town. Very, very profitable. 17 engineers doing, in fact, they're not even engineers, they're all technicians. Next, there is an incubator that is located with Youngstown, together with Youngstown State University in Ohio. This is one of the best 3D engineering faculty in the US. Of course, we don't hear about it, you know? So they are 3D and CNC computers for their incubator. Next. This is an area that used to make torpedoes during World War II. This is a Westinghouse factory. Logistics, this is 25 cents for warehousing. For people that wants to do manufacturing, light manufacturing and assembling. This is a huge, gigantic factory called the Landing, owned by the Pennsylvania state government. Next. In Pennsylvania, there are where we live are 2,000 lakes. So one of the companies I'm talking to that is a member of IES, I want to explore the possibility of building houses on the lake. I don't even know why no American construction company has even thought about this. When I saw this system, they use this for the Marina National Day Parade, where their construction can float on water. I said, that's it. I went back. I want to do that business. Sell houses on the lake. So you can park your boats. Everybody has a boat there. Next. This company makes all kinds of riot gear, export all over the world. In a little town near me, 12 miles north, Jamestown, make riot control equipment and export all over the world. Next. Okay, this gives you a general idea. I'm trying to put more companies together for our group that wants to come in April.
We also have Karina from SBS. You know SBS, Singapore Business Federation.
Okay.
So they are looking after businesses as well, and they are also looking at nationalization. So I wanted to introduce them to you. We should connect on email, right? Okay. Okay. With Flora. Okay. And exploring how you can support the expansion. Yes. Yeah. So maybe we just take a few more questions, then we can chat. Anybody else have any questions to add?
I will be here until Monday. Then I fly off to Bangkok in the afternoon. So anyone wants to meet me, I will come back to Singapore on February the 28th, which is a Monday. So February 28th through March the 6th, I'll be happy to meet with anyone. If you need to know more about America, or if you have an idea, I can roughly give you a skeleton direction, a draft where you should go or how you should enter the US. That's what? Just call me. I'll give you my number later, you know. No charge, okay? I tell you why I'm doing this. I want to do this is really to help Singapore companies, Singapore SME. None of my children wants to be in my business because they're going to get well-paying jobs. I know how tough it is to run a business in Singapore. I've been there. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money in Singapore. Probably lost more money than make money. It's very tough here. and it's getting tougher. I see all my friends. So whether I'm going to charge you a fees or not, talk to me. I want to help you all to go. I suffered like hell the first 5 years I was there because nobody was kanjiao. But I think I am right now I'm helping Vietnamese company, Chinese companies. They are paying a lot of money because they can afford. But I really want to help you all. So don't worry about money. Come, let me talk to you. Let me help you. Let me show you what you don't know. Because there were many things. Even though I went to school in America for university, I really didn't know shit. Okay, so I want to encourage you all. I will give you time. Come talk to me.